Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Pardon Our Picks, where perfection is a work in progress. I'm your host, Sam. Alongside me, the little Sam, the rookie, and of course, my esteemed colleague, Tarek. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back. Sorry I missed last week, but we had an interesting weekend of football. What'd you think about it?
Oh, my goodness. So many upsets, so many craziness, so much craziness.
Yeah.
Speaking of craziness.
Yeah.
Football, Jesus. How you doing tonight?
Man, I'm feeling a come up. I'm feeling a rise from myself this week. So I'm really excited to get into this week of football with you guys and really get back to the heart of what this program's about.
What's that?
Me being great.
Got a ways
thought
to
it
go
was-
there, Brady.
I thought it was the heart of football, and nobody knows that better than the QB coach. Jessica, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. I honestly have no idea how my picks went last week because I had a lot going on. So
You and me both.
I know a few things that I got wrong, but in general, I don't think it was horrendous. So I'm sure Brady's still somewhere back in the dust.
That's okay. I
Oh.
mean,
No, is that the order now?
what?
That's not the order now,
What
is
are you
it?
talking? No, that's the way that's always been.
I was about to say, wait, skip Jess. Yes.
I was like, oh my God, I'm almost at Brady's level.
Listen,
Time to do the happy dance. Time to do the
Pardon
happy
Our
dance.
Picks is where perfection is a work in progress, and we are brought to you by Hardwork Concepts Incorporated, more than just a sign shop, and In Too Deep of Maryland. Catch them on New Year's Eve from 9 p.m. to midnight. It's going to be a great show, great way to bring in the new year.
Thinking about going.
Speaking of the new year, Matt Ryan, new team this year, same problems, completely blown out. Biggest comeback victory against him in the regular season. Is that his biggest or Super Bowl, maybe? What do you think?
I'm going to go with that last game against the Vikings because I sat and I watched.
I picked the
Vikings
Vikings game.
I sat and I watched the Vikings comeback, and it really was his inability to stand in the pocket, his negative mobility, if you will, and his inability to complete passes that really prevented the team from driving. Sure, they lost Jonathan Taylor, and there's excuses you could make for the Super Bowl too, but there was a larger point difference in the game against the Vikings, so I'm going to go with that one. And because from what I saw of the Indianapolis Colts offense, I don't know how they even put up 30 points in that game.
The offense didn't. It was all defense.
Yeah, and then the defense let him down. And I was looking this up, trying to just get some stats based on this question because this game just blew my mind. I was shocked at the lead. I was shocked at the blown lead. Like it was a roller coaster, emotional roller coaster with this whole thing with the team that I used to be such a big fan of. And I'll bring this up again just because I find it funny. I was Googling information on this to let our viewers know that a Colts column called like Horsey Shoes or something like that said like the title is Leave Maddie Alone, based on the old 2000s meme of Leave Brady Alone. I just thought that was the best thing. But I'm going to agree with Brady. I think this last game was so bad. There's a big argument for the Super Bowl that a lot of that is with the at the time the offensive coordinator. If I had it right there,
Kyle Shanahan.
So like he blew that with plays, much like we're feeling the pain here in Baltimore, offensive court OC wise. So, but I think this game he hasn't looked good all season. It's been very hit or miss for him, and I think this is just like the broken stubby candle on top of the sad birthday cake for him.
So I would say with my limited visibility into this, pretty much no research into this, I would lean more toward the Super Bowl for the same kind of reasons that they both are letting him off the hook a little bit. One is more offensive coordinator play calling. Right now, he's just kind of fighting for his life. And honestly, if the Minnesota Vikings can come back 30 some points, that's on the defense, not the offense. Yes, the offense needs to continue scoring points, but I don't know how he gets the blame on that one. So I would lean more toward the Super Bowl. And at that point, you would think that he would be at least being able to audible or make his own calls at the line when needed. And maybe he dropped, pun intended, dropped the ball on that one. So heavier game.
So, hey, did Matty Ice do really bad last week?
What?
Did Matty Ice melt last week?
The money I
Did he melt?
Nope.
Yeah, he melted, didn't he?
Today.
He has no idea what I'm talking about.
Okay,
Matty
Sammy
Ice had a
Neve.
meltdown?
Meltdown?
Yeah.
What's kind of that?
Almost big.
It was really
Egg?
cute to just see his eyes. His eyes were just over the bar. To just see him looking around, wondering what's going on.
Yeah, he's trying to figure it out. Matty Ice bad?
Money on bed?
Is he bad? Yeah, he's pretty bad. I think yes.
No.
No. Interesting opinion. I'm not gonna lie. I think the Super Bowl was his biggest one. Quite frankly, he had the offense to win that, and they were up 28-3 going into the fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken. This one, they were up 33-0 at the half. Unfortunately for him, Unfortunately for him, it was all the defense. It was interception return for a touchdown. That's right.
Defense.
It was a blocked kick that was returned. His offense was absolutely putrid, and everything around him was bad. He's not making anybody better now. So back then he could elevate people, and even with bad play calling, he should have been able to execute something to keep him going. Quite frankly, I'm not surprised that he had another big meltdown, especially considering the team that he's on is pretty terrible. So, but yeah, I'd have to say Super Bowl, biggest stage. You gotta come away with that one. Speaking of coming away with it, let's take a look at the standings. Jessica's still in the lead with an 11-5 week, tied with me for the week, and still 3 games ahead.
Dang,
with
I had a
you.
good week.
Yeah, you did.
Oh,
3 weeks ago,
that's a
she's
tough
4
pill to
games ahead.
swallow there. Ugh.
Yeah.
9 on 16.
I had a really bad week.
Yeah.
10 to
Sammy,
6.
you're
Somebody's
better than Brady.
closer.
He's 10-6, man. I mean,
You're
I'm
like
the
right
same one.
here, Brady.
Well, you
Same
just got the
person,
same one
Derek.
too.
I don't
Just
I don't
like
think our
me.
beards are supposed to be kissing, Brady.
We're the same person now, Tarek.
it's coming down to it. Somebody's gonna end up shaving.
So do we have a mullet? Is it spiky hair which is long in the back?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna. If we finish tied, that's what we'll do. I'll cut it up top and Liberty spike it up, and then you have to grow out the back.
I have to grow out the back. I just got it cut Saturday, but
Let it go.
That's right. Well, after the chaos that was last week for some teams, let's take a look at our games of the week. Football, Jesus. Let's hear that gospel.
You kind of hit the nail on the head with chaos. So I had to pick one of the teams involved in one of those chaotic games last week, and I'm going with the New York Giants against the aforementioned Minnesota Vikings. Now, this game kind of stands out to me for a couple of reasons. The Giants' defense, in terms of yardage given up, is absolutely putrid. They're 29th in the league, but they're 11th in scoring allowed. So they are giving up the yards, but keeping the offenses out of the end zone. Now, granted, last week's game has a lot of people questioning whether the NFL is rigged or not. And given the team that they are going against and the owner, I can kind of see where the NFL might want to sway that game one way. And the Minnesota Vikings, as we just talked about at length, they went down by a large margin, but the offense dug them back into that game yard by yard, and the entire team came out of the tunnel at half looking like the game had just started. So this game is really interesting to me for a couple of reasons. The Giants are still fighting for their playoff life. And the Minnesota Vikings, while having clinched a playoff spot last week, I still think they have a chance now with Jalen Hurts going down to injury to potentially get that number 1 seed. So I see both of these teams coming out and trying everything that they can to win this game. I have the Minnesota Vikings in this game solely because their offense showed last week they can put up yards and points regardless of who's playing what. And the Giants offense, I mean, they were only able to put up 20 last week, and they were kind of handed that game, in my opinion, due to the referee calls, interference, what have you. But I think this is going to be a close game. I see this being in the mid-20s for both teams. But I have the Minnesota Vikings taking this one by a score.
So I actually also am going with the Vikings on this. I feel like the Vikings are definitely hitting a pretty good stride. Kirk Cousins looks great. And the only problem is the NFC East for the Vikings has proven to be a little challenging from time to time. I am kind of curious to see if Saquon is 100%. Or not, but the Vikings are like the king of comeback, like they are tied for the most comeback wins, I think, this season. I do think it's going to be a very close game. It's going to be a hard fought game. And I think it's going to be less than a touchdown, maybe like a 27-24, 24-21 kind of score at the end with the Vikings on top.
So this is definitely an interesting one, and one of the ones I was looking at before Brady claimed it. I think this is, as Brady said, this is a really cool matchup. Like, you got, even though the score and the spread doesn't really reflect that, but you got two teams that are they're vying for it. The Vikings is clinched it, and I actually, I disagree with Brady a lot. I'm actually agreeing with him wholeheartedly here. I think they can go all the way. They're one, not that we've discussed it, just in my head. I've got them picked to go for the number 1 seed there. So yeah, I'm picking the Vikings as well. I think that's especially bolstered by last week's performance. They know what they can do, and I think they're gonna just try and like stiff arm and keep the Giants down.
Who do you got in this game, Sammy? What's it? Are they the New York Giants?
Yeah.
This guy's got the New York Giants. The Giants did play hard last week. Yeah, they won in controversial fashion. The Vikings came back from a monumental deficit, and the Vikings technically could get the number 1 seed, but they would physically have to have a better record because Philly has the head-to-head tiebreaker. So I don't think they'll get it. Even if they try, I think what they're really playing for is positioning in the playoffs. They're not going to get the number 1 seed, but they may get the 2 seed. Anyone really competing with them for that is the 49ers. The Giants, however, they're really trying to get to that playoff spot. They are busting their humps to get there. Their running game is amazing, and I think that they can run all over this Vikings team. However, I have the Vikings winning this one. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be low scoring. This is going to want to be one of those, physical type games. So Vikings for the win, in my opinion. All right. Let's hear it from the QB coach. What kind of plays you pulling up today?
My game of the week is going to be the Ravens-Falcons game this week, which is a
Me
little bit of
too. I picked the Ravens too.
good pick, Sammy. Good pick. I knew you were the smart one. So
Because I know everything about Ravens.
that's right. You do. You absolutely do. That's awesome. You're gonna help me make my picks. So the Ravens, this is the perfect time for the Ravens to go up against somebody like the Falcons. The Falcons allow a ton of points per game. They don't really have an offense that's doing much. They just started their backup, Ritter, and he's not exactly performing to their hopes, I guess. And on top of that, their really only option is their run game, which is okay. But the Ravens have one of the best run defenses in the league right now, allowing some of the lowest rushing yards of any team in the NFL. So this one to me couldn't be better timing because of how banged up the Ravens are, besides Lamar being out, which there is a chance that he could be back for this one, but I don't think he should personally if he is not 100%, if we're going to make any kind of run. Huntley is a fine backup. Yeah, he's been playing not too great lately, but really Lamar's not playing great when he's not healthy. Plus, there's Calais Campbell, Devin Duvernay got hurt in practice today, but we did also bring back Sammy Watkins, so we'll see what happens with that. Realistically, the offense is going to be very stalled. We might look for some defensive scores, even though one of our cornerbacks is injured as well. But overall, I think it's going to be high 20s, low 30s for the Ravens, and I think they're going to take it by a touchdown.
Yeah,
I agree with what.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, is it good?
All right, I'll go. I agree with what Jess said. The Falcons last week against probably the most injury plagued team in the Saints last week could only muster 16 points. And as Jess alluded to, their passing game kind of isn't there this year, especially with Desmond Ridder in the one game that we've seen. And they also lost one of their top running backs for the rest of the season due to injury last week. So I think this is going to be an absolute feast or famine game for the Ravens. I'm picking the Ravens in this one, but if they do lose, do not be surprised if both Harbaugh and Greg Roman are finding new jobs next season.
All right. So can I go now? I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah, hold on, I'm not done.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right. See what everyone missed with me being out last week.
What just said that?
I mean, everyone kind of touched on this. This is an interesting one. We've met this show has made fun of the Falcons multiple times, many times over this year. They've shocked and surprised us with a couple of these 5 victories that just amazed us. The Ravens, potentially stuff written down and better than their record shows, but they haven't always shown it. A bunch of those wins, they blow. A bunch of those losses, they've blown major leads. Jess has already mentioned people who are out, people who are hurt. Huntley looked good, and then he didn't look good. And he's been flip-flopping back and forth. It's probably why he's a backup. I think the major problem with the Ravens, regardless of Harbaugh, I think a lot of it is Roman. I think even if either one of them need to go, I think Roman needs to. He's proven to me for years like he's a one-trick pony. That's all he does. He can't do anything else. And like even my son watching the game was like, "Why doesn't he throw to anybody else, Dad?" Like, I don't know why he doesn't throw to anybody but Andrews, and then Andrews misses just whatever. But I'm picking the Ravens on this one. I think they're just gonna do it. Hopefully, they can get enough pieces together. That they have on paper, they have more stuff to be able to, as Jess said, stop the run. And Falcons really haven't done much of anything this year. So I got them, but I think it's gonna be not a clean game. Very, very dirty game.
Very dirty.
Dirty.
Birds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who'd you pick in this one again? What are they called?
Ravens.
The Ravens. Yeah, that's what I thought. The Atlanta Falcons have been in most of their games that they've played, and with the new quarterback, the first week that he's in, didn't look great at first. They eventually pulled it together. Almost won against a team with a good defense, mind you. The Saints have a good defense. Their offense is putrid. The Ravens, 13-3 against the Cleveland Browns. Can't do that, especially against a team that's supposed to be far inferior to you this year. Both of these teams are vying for playoff spots right now. The Falcons can still win their division. They're only a game back of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Ravens probably not going to win their division so much, but they're one more win. They should have a wild card at the very least. If Lamar plays, if he plays like he's in the whole game, the Ravens should run away with this one. I think him healthy, the Ravens are a much better team. I'm a little
Yeah.
concerned.
So
I'm a little concerned that he's gonna maybe play a couple series and go out. I don't know if it's a contract thing. I don't know if it's he's actually hurt. But I mean, it doesn't seem like his heart's in it right now. And Greg Roman has been a big part of that. He is not dialing up plays that he can do that'll maximize his potential. He has nobody to throw it to. And the fact that Sammy Watkins is coming back is a big indicator that they got nobody to throw it to. Sammy Watkins is bad. I mean, you're bringing him back. You got rid of him for a reason. So I have the Ravens in this one. I think it's going to be maybe in the 20s. It might not even reach the 20s. I don't know. So Ravens for the win.
yeah, the Ravens won.
The Ravens. for the win. Yeah.
Sammy's telling the future now.
Yes.
And we don't let him loose.
We don't let him lose. He's laying it down. All right. Well, let's see what the Orange Bomber can lay down. What do you got this week?
All right, so this is kind of a pity game almost, a garbage game. I'm just trying to like go for something a little different here. So I got the Chargers and the Colts. So I want to see if the Colts can come back from this. I'm pretty sure they're just, especially with that record, they're out of the playoffs. They got nothing. So they're just playing for pride at this point. But they showed that they can do something. You got the Chargers who are trying to fight. I think they're still in for I guess a wild card again with the Chiefs. So they have something to prove here. So you got Justin Herbert, you got Matt Ryan. A couple years ago, that might have been a good matchup. Matt Ryan's not much, as we've already discussed, not much to show. I don't know what Jordan Taylor's status is going into this week. With him, is he out?
Done for the year.
Yeah, he's done for the
So
year.
this may be an on-air change. I had the Colts going into this one, just seeing if they can just play it out and see what they can do. Because sometimes when you take that pressure off, you do amazing things. I don't think they can do amazing things here. So I was trying to pick an upset to try and like keep Brady in the back where he belongs, but I don't know that this is the right upset for me to pick. So I'm going to on-air change it from the Colts to the Chargers. I think they're trying for a playoff spot. I think they just got a little bit more to play for. The Colts have lost like all their weapons, any oomph they've got with Jordan Taylor out. I don't really think they got a shot without like their wide receivers, or their receiving core is not what it used to be with T.Y. Hilton and Reggie Wayne and them. So it's I think the Chargers are going to get in front and stay in front for this game.
You said you're changing it on air?
Yeah. Did I pick the Chargers?
Yeah.
Oh, well, good. I'm picking the Chargers. I'm a smart man.
There you go.
I was about to say, because I don't think choosing the Colts is that far off base for this game. I mean, the Tennessee defense. I'm going to explain to you why. The Tennessee defense held the Chargers' vaunted offense to 17 points last week. I mean, Justin Herbert, is talking about potentially when his contract's up. I mean, there are rumors saying that he's going to sign a $50+ million deal a year, but he could only run an offense to 17 points against the Tennessee defense. I have a hard time seeing that the Chargers are going to just run over this one, no matter how bad Matt Ryan plays, because it took, which I'm sure my co-hosts, and if you haven't seen it, viewers, go find it, that miraculous play to Mike Williams last week where Herbert had to scramble outside the pocket, run like 5 yards, and then huck it to him. And he had to make like a crazy circus catch on the sidelines to get them in field goal range so they didn't go to overtime. So as much as we talked about the Chargers and really that whole division coming into this season as being one of the best in the league, I think the Chargers are one of the weaker teams in that division based on how they've played. I have the Chargers in this one just because of the potential offensive boom that they could have. But I wouldn't be surprised if this game is ended in the last couple seconds.
So I'm definitely taking the Chargers. The only reason I could see the Colts having any kind of real life in this game is their defensive line. They do have some playmakers on their defense, and the Colts tend to the Chargers tend to struggle a little bit against this type of a defense. So I think it's going to be one of those games where they can move the ball downfield, but there's not going to be a lot of touchdowns. It's probably going to have a lot of field goals. With that being said, I do think that the Chargers offense has struggled a little bit because they just got some of their key players back. So I don't know if they've fully hit that groove yet, but I think this week they're going to look good midfield, red zone. They're going to struggle a little bit, and I'm going to take the Chargers in this by, say, 6 points.
Hey, did you pick the Chargers or the Colts?
The Chargers.
The Chargers. Okay. That's a smart boy. The Colts, like I said already, I may have mentioned it. They scored 80% of their points via the defense
Yeah.
last week. That's right. And special teams, field goals, blocked kicks, stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah, on week 16.
that's right. They did it in week 15, though. Right. Anyway, the Chargers, yeah, they got stifled quite a bit by the Tennessee Titans. Decent defense, not great. They had a bad week. You know, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Austin Eckler, I mean, Justin Herbert. I think this team is going to. I think this team's going to pull it out this week. I think it's going to be high scoring on one side of the ball, the Charger side. I think it's going to be a fairly big blowout. People can go to bed early because the Colts are not making a comeback like the Vikings did last week. So, and that being said, let's get on to my game of the week. Who did I pick for my game of the week, Sammy?
What?
Do you know who I picked for my game of the week?
Pick what?
The Green Bay Packers against the Dolphins. There's a reason why I
I
picked it.
picked the green.
The Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
You didn't pick the Dolphins.
I would not pick the Dolphins.
You would not pick the Dolphins. Okay. There's a reason why I picked this as my game of the week. The Packers are kind of clawing their way back into playoff contention. The Dolphins are reeling a bit from the past couple games. They haven't been looking anywhere near as good as they were earlier in the season. The defense for Green Bay is ramping up. They're actually doing a pretty good job. They held the Rams on Monday night to 12 points, two field goals and a touchdown with a missed extra point. Knowing that both of these teams really need this win, the Dolphins, if they want to make sure that they keep they're currently in the playoff picture.
Are you coming over
They
here?
want to make sure that they stay in the playoff picture. And Green Bay, who desperately wants to get back into the playoff picture, I think this is going to be one of the better games of the week. I have the Dolphins in a close game, kind of knocking the Green Bay Packers out of the playoffs completely. So let me say hi to Cannon.
Hey, Kenny.
Say hi.
Hi.
I agree with a lot of what Sam said, but the problem that I'm seeing, and I'm kind of flip-flopping now that I'm doing a little extra research, is that Miami doesn't play well against the teams that are statistically good. Their last two wins have come against the Texans and the Browns. And the games after those were the 49ers, the Bills, and the Chargers. Chargers, who, arguably are a flip-flop team. And Green Bay, I mean, as much as our viewers and my co-hosts know, I've been against Aaron Rodgers this entire season. He hasn't looked like he's been able to command an offense. And even still, in the Monday night game against the Rams, I didn't see him commanding an offense well. I saw a defense that is playing busboys and window washers out there hoping of an NFL dream and they were able to beat them by 2 scores. So as of right now, I have the Miami Dolphins, but as it gets closer, I am subject to change my pick because I don't think that the Dolphins can beat teams that are good. So my definition of good may change between now and kickoff.
So this is one of the ones I'm not entirely clear on. I think I'm going with the Dolphins on this, in this matchup. But the Green Bay Packers, yeah, they looked pretty good. Like they were figuring some stuff out. I won't even say pretty good because that game was abysmal. But they looked okay. Like they were figuring out, oh, okay, we have to, spread it out between these 2 receivers, Dobbs being the primary, and then get on the ground a little bit more, letting less and less action by Aaron Rodgers. It was a good formula for them. The LA Rams are super banged up. I mean, even their defense was, some of their players were playing, as if they still stood a chance to make it all the way. And they are arguably one of the worst teams right now in football. So they didn't crush this team. I have very little confidence in the Green Bay Packers. Miami really needs this, and offensively, they can be a powerhouse. I think this is going to be one of those weeks that they really challenge the Green Bay defense, which is a decent defense. But I'm going to go Miami here by 1 touchdown.
This is an interesting game. Make sure, I'm unmuted. Make sure everyone can hear me. But this is an interesting game. Sam brought up a few really good points about like the direction the teams are going. You want to be able to finish strong going into the playoffs, and the Packers are starting to come back. Miami's going the other direction. Based on the season, I have more faith in Miami and Tua than I do in Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. I've picked him. This is one of those years where all the ones we used to pick at the default just aren't mattering anymore. So it's like there is no like I'm having to actually think about, okay, what's going on, how they playing, there's more thought into just going like, oh yeah, it's the Colts and Peyton Manning, they win. Like it's just not the case. So, but I do have more faith in right now just based on past performance. I think it's going to be close, but I think Miami's going to pull away with this one.
Okay, so that being said, let's get on to our pop panel pick'ems. Let's take a look at where we pick everything. Little dissension among some of these, but a lot of consistency. 2 people with the Jaguars.
I am not entirely sold on that one. Just because for me, the Jets defense is what's selling me.
Quarterback play is what sold me the other way.
Yeah, that's obviously the drawback for me for the Jets. That's what's making me question it. That's the only thing that's making me question it.
Yeah, I like Trevor Lawrence. He's starting to figure stuff out, and the Jets haven't been able to figure out what quarterback they're going to use.
If it was Mike White this week, I would go with the Jets. But because it's Zach Wilson again, I'm going with the Jaguars.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I'm going with the Jets, and it's because I think the Jaguars have played above their station the past couple of weeks. I think they come down.
Do you need a hat and a monocle with that one? They're above their station.
Playing above their station, my boy.
Yeah.
No,
Well, the Ravens are playing below theirs. So.
You're in the South, and you need to stay in the bottom.
But I think that the Jets right the ship this week, get themselves back into playoff contention. They really need the victory. And then, of course, only 2 people picked the Saints.
Me and Sammy.
Did you pick the Saints? You picked the Saints?
Sammy, a bad guy plays on the Browns, so you pick the Saints.
The bad guy does play on the Browns. Doesn't change the fact that I think the Browns are going to win.
So, I mean, for me, they absolutely could, but I would say the Browns didn't look that great last week, right? So,
True.
they
They
looked
didn't.
pretty crappy, whereas, New Orleans hit a little groove there.
Subject to change because Nick Chubb was absent today from practice with a foot injury. So
And I
if
can
he
tell you
is,
right now, my confidence will just grow.
if he is
And I-
slated to not go, I will change my pick on that one as well.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
And it's not even like I don't have a high confidence that New Orleans is gonna win. I just right now I think I refuse to pick the Browns regardless, and I'm willing to take the loss.
I've noticed.
Understandable.
Only one person picking the Seahawks, the Giants. This guy. And you know what? He's made some picks that I wouldn't have, and he was right. So that absolutely could happen.
There's that any given Sunday moniker we can always fall back on, and Sammy's like tapped into that vein.
That's right. The rookie is in. The rookie is in there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2,
He is the
Wow,
only
I'm
one-
surprised that no one picked the Eagles.
I am too, but I think it has to do with Jalen Hurts being out.
I mean, Cowboys offense was abysmal last week, having to use fourth downs and everything with like 5 minutes left on the clock to claw back in that game. So
Yeah, I just it's a division
Honestly-
game, and with the backup QB in for
Sorry.
I very well might change that. There's
I just think the Cowboys need this more than the Eagles. do.
Yeah.
I think that's why they win.
Yeah, if there's no bogus play in the overtime, then it shouldn't be all right.
But I mean, Gardner Minshew goes in. He didn't look bad when he played last year.
I think it's just a lack of like he's going to get a full week's worth of reps with the first team, but then go against the Dallas defense that, except for last week, looked pretty good. So.
By the way,
Oh,
there
no.
is no Homer bias here.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one to pick the Eagles.
That kid's a Ravens fan. He ain't no Cowboys fan.
Mhm.
He knows Daddy's a Cowboys fan.
He don't care.
And then of course only two people picked the Steelers, but that one was kind of a toss up for me too.
It was a toss up, and that you may get a text from me later to change it.
Definite toss up.
I'll keep an eye on that one.
He's the only one to pick Green Bay. Just because the only one to pick the Broncos, although that was
Nope,
pretty much
because
toss-up.
on air change because through my football Jesus feed, I just saw that the Rams put 2 more players on season-ending IR, so I am changing my pick on air to the Broncos.
I still feel like they can stop Brett Rippon.
No chance because they just lost one of their wide receivers and their starting center for the year. So going with the Broncos.
That may be a later change for me. I'm not gonna copycat right now, but that was like I'm not picking the Broncos for anything right now. But as Jess said, the Rams just are the worst. So it's
I mean, these are 2 bad teams right now.
Yeah, I'm keeping
Mhm.
it the way it is.
And the
Sammy, of
funny
course.
thing is no matter who loses, they still don't have a first round draft pick this year.
Yep. Battle of the second rounders.
yeah.
If that, I think the Broncos don't have one till the 3rd.
And of course, this one picked the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think he knows that Kyler Murray's out.
Yeah, Broncos will probably trade away the rest of their draft picks for another crappy quarterback next year.
Did you
Matt
know that Kyler
Ryan,
No, don't put
Kyler
that
Murray he's out. Did you
juju.
know that?
Don't put that
Marcus
out into the universe.
Mariota. Hey, I mean, honestly, anything's possible because I watched the entire Tampa Bay game last week, and what happened after halftime was a just cataclysm of failures on every side of the ball, and it was hilarious to watch an entire quarter be played from the Tampa Bay side of the 50 because it was just no play took place before then. It was madness and it was hilarity. So anything's possible, but with Trace McSorley possibly at starting quarterback for the Cardinals, they might have a chance, but
Yeah.
I think that's more of a
beginner's
toss-up
luck.
than our picks have led us to.
Mhm.
There's that beginner's luck, man. He might get it. You never know. All right.
All right.
Don't forget to like.
Thank you
and
guys so much for being a part of
subscribe.
this with us. Thank you for watching.
Then
Click that like button, subscribe, comment, let us know who you think's gonna win. Let us know what picks you think are wrong. Give me good vibes so I can push Brady back again.
Tell
Uh,
Tarek how good he's gonna look with a bald head.
my wife actually likes that, so I
don't
just told-
forget to like and subscribe. That's
click subscribe so you know when we come
If
out new
you're
videos. Click
somewhere
that
in
bell
a
so you get
minute,
notified when I finish
and
editing
you
them and
see-
put them up. And as always, remember, I'm Tarek.
I'm Jessica.
I'm football Jesus.
Sam.
Say it loud.
Sam.
And I'm Big Sam. You have a great football week.
Bye, guys.
See y'all.
Hello.